Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families.
And I'm Merrill Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families. And we are excited to have you join us as we talk all things faith, family, and fitness. A special thanks to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency for their support of Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community one family at a time.
Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families, and I am here with my man, the amazing Merrill. Let me drum roll. Hold on.
Linda, that is so immature. Are you serious? Are you? Okay, keep it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Even though it is kind of a cold, nasty end of February, March, beginning of March kind of time.
Yes, it is. Didn't we just do a show about the dark side?
Yes. But spring is coming.
Yes, it is.
But we're not talking about weather today on our show.
No, we're not? Okay.
No. Today's show is all about relationships, especially with our spouse. And, hun, we're talking about what we focus on in our relationships. So let's prime the pump a little bit as I rub my hands together.
Yeah, somehow I feel like I'm going to get trapped in something again.
So tell me something, a favorite thing about me.
Wow. Or not like we're inviting any kind of compliments or anything. So something, my favorite thing about you.
What are you focusing on?
Wait,
what are you looking for?
Is this being recorded? Because
yes,
this
I am.
Could go down in history.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see. My favorite, or among my many favorites, so this list is so long I just can't, but I'll break it down. Let's see. One of my favorite things, I'm all about simplicity, right? So one of my favorite things is that you laugh at my jokes.
Oh my goodness.
So maybe that's more about me than it is you. But
No.
But you laugh and you smile. And I think that's just something that just helps feed me a little bit. It makes me comfortable. It makes me enjoy being around you. And that's why oftentimes I refer to you as my best friend.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm your best friend, and you're my best friend.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So wait.
We got to get to our sponsors.
No. You are not running from this one yet.
Okay.
No. So you baited me. Tell me something that is just awesome about me.
Well, it's so funny because you don't know this.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me get the dump button.
Yeah, you're going to edit this out. But no, one of my favorite things about you, hon, is something that I just realized just the other day. And
oh, wow. After 32 years of marriage, that's
I've realized
great.
it's a lot, but I appreciated it the other day. And that is the fact that you can keep me calm in the middle of a storm. And the other day, I was really anxious about an event we were hosting and leading and teaching, and I was worried about technology working. I was worried about time and being there and having enough time. And I got to tell the story about McDonald's.
Well, this was more about God than it is McDonald's. I think God loves to play with us.
So we're heading to this event, and we're right on time, and you want a drink, which I usually would be the one, but I was so nervous and wanting to get there. So you wanted a drink. So the McDonald's line looked like easy, like we were going to fly through, still be on time.
And I don't like drive-thrus, right?
You don't like
this
drive-thrus.
was totally out. I never do drive-thrus. I always park the car and go in because I can beat the cars in the drive-thru 99.9% of the time.
Oh, yeah. So we're this one woman in front of us, and I thought, this is going to be a piece of cake. We're going to have time. You just want a drink. And this woman in front of us ordered, if you were this woman in McDonald's Batesville, I apologize, but she had 5 different orders, and she had every one of them she had a review. She spent over $50 in the McDonald's, because we saw the whole screen, by the way, of everything she ordered. It took forever.
It was so funny because the tension in our car, I literally thought you were going to jump out of our car and grab her by the throat and just go after her like, are you serious? Because she actually did. She went back through and she checked the order like 2 or 3 times. And then when she went to pay, she went back through.
I think she had to pay every order separately.
And we were the second car in line.
Yes.
But anyway, that was funny. Let's talk a little bit about that show for a second. Or I mean that presentation that we did. Hun, between the two of us, your gift for natural or for public speaking is way beyond mine. I mean, you're just so comfortable. I've seen you get up in front of thousands of people and you just get up and you just roll. And like that is nerve-wracking to me. And you just get up, and for whatever reason, we were going to be speaking to, we thought maybe between 50, 30 people, something like that. And you were a nervous Nelly. And I was blown away because I'm like, is this Linda? What in the world?
But you are such the calm in that, and I so appreciate that, and you were so encouraging, and I so appreciate that. And honestly, it was all those outside factors like having enough time and about technology working, which, by the way, in God's funny humor, technology did not work for our technology seminar.
That's right.
We had 4 educators over there trying to make it work for a half an hour, and you were like, hey, we'll roll with it. We got a paper, we got pens, and it worked great. But
yeah, it was funny.
I appreciate that about you. So it's all about what you focus on,
That's
right?
That's right. Where your focus is.
So we're going to get to that.
So now we better focus on some commercials that you wanted to get to.
Yeah.
So we want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency for coming alongside of Rock Solid Radio and allowing us to do what we do here on these airwaves. So we want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency. They began in 1981 by their founder, Jim Mansfield. Mansfield Insurance Agency is dedicated to serving the folks of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So for all your insurance needs, please reach out to Mansfield Insurance Agency at 800-230-3927.
Yeah, we also want to thank Maxwell Construction, and they have been recognized as one of the most recognizable commercial construction companies in the tri-state. And what separates Maxwell apart from their competition is their emphasis on just being really service-oriented and meeting the needs of the customers. And so whether it's a hospital or a restaurant or a school or apartment building, Maxwell Construction is able to meet your needs. So call Maxwell Construction today at 812-537-2200.
All right, very good. We do want to make a couple of announcements here because what we were just talking to prior to doing our commercials was the Families Rock parenting series that we were doing over at Batesville Intermediate School. And so this continues as we run through actually I think through March 16th, right? Mm-hmm. March 3rd, March 10th, and March 16th. So that's the next 2 Tuesdays, and then a Monday is our last time. And this next coming topic is Who's the Boss?
Yeah, you're in charge of that one.
So this
you're
is
the
the one
boss.
I get to get nervous about.
Yeah, it's easy for you. All you're doing is passing out pens.
I was just sitting back. Hey, going to help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, but we are going to talk about Who's the Boss, and I think it's a really it's a great topic, and I think politely we're going to step on toes because sometimes we don't realize how much lead we give away to our kids in this case when they're in our house, and how when the next thing you know they're running the show and we're wondering what happened. So anyway, we're going to have some good conversation about that, but that's
right.
one we want to encourage you
so
to get to.
If you're listening to this when it is launched, this podcast is launched, February and March of 2020 is when we're doing this Families Rock series in Batesville, Indiana. But we know, our podcasts have a long shelf life, and so we're thankful for that. But if you're listening and it's March of 2020, we'd love to have you join us in Batesville, Indiana on March 3rd, the 10th, or the 16th. We also see clients in our St. Leon office, individuals, couples, families. It's been a very busy winter. Right?
Yep. Yes. Very much.
We're ready for spring to come.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can help you, whether with parenting or with marriage concerns, or even with the fitness, we talk about fitness all the
Personal
time.
trainer.
Come see us at Rock Solid Families. You can reach us. Our number is 812-576-7625. And you could also go onto our website, which is rocksolidfamilies.org. So get in touch with us and see what we can do to help you out.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some background on this, okay?
So the reason why we're talking about, and the subject of this podcast is, what are you looking for? And we've seen hundreds of families, come through our office in the past 18 months that we've been open, and we've definitely seen a pattern. We've seen spouses who come in with a list of excuses as to what their spouse is doing wrong or maybe not doing right. And that, of course, is causing problems in their marriage. I even had one spouse who brought in probably 15 to 20 pages of typed notes. And a majority of that was spouse's issues.
Right.
That they were coming in with me to give me. But hun, John 15:2 tells us that Jesus tells us his command is to love each other as I have loved you. And so are we doing that? Or are we looking for every little wrong or mistake our spouse makes?
Well, let me back you up a little bit, because that's where people come to us. But I think the thing that you and I are always working to remind folks on, when people are dating and when people first walk down that aisle to get married, this is not their issue. They love each other. Like they still think each other's really cool.
They have rose-colored glasses on.
And they see the good in each other. They see the fun in each other. They see all of these really awesome things, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be walking down that aisle, right? So the point being here is, at some point in time, you were focused on something different about your spouse. But life happened. We get beat down. We allow things to cloud our goggles of life, and it really starts to taint the person that we're married to. It taints our view of them.
Yes, our vision
right.
of them.
And again, over time, that can actually change our personality, their personality. We've seen people become hardened and bitter towards each other. And that, the longer that goes on, the harder that is. We're actually going to be we've done a show before called Slow Fade, but we're going to be doing a little workshop on that here one of these weekends coming up, where it's just that whole idea of, marriages over time can fade. And so this is the source of some of that.
Yeah. So, we're going to use some words tonight from actually the Apostle Paul to kind of guide us in our conversation today and in our show, because I think Paul really hits the nail on the head, hon. He's like, I think he's sitting in our kitchen or maybe in our bedroom and he's listening to our conversations. And so, are we loving our spouse? Are we looking for in our spouse the things that Christ sees in us, or the way he wants us to love, the way he loves us? Because guess what? Christ does not keep a record of wrongs. He does not keep a scorecard on us, because if he did, we would be in big trouble. And so we're going to be talking about that. Actually, so we're coming out of the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13. Some people call it the love chapter. And so we're going to kind of talk about, what are we looking for in our spouse? So the very first thing in 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7 is, love is patient.
Oh, well, this fits me. I don't know why. Okay, go on to the next one.
Well, honey, and honestly, in that example of the other night at McDonald's, you were very patient with me. You knew where my anxiety was coming from. You knew that I wasn't upset with you or anything like that. And so I appreciated the fact that you were patient with me and kind of holding my hand through that. And that showed me love.
Well, and patience, when we talk about love is patience, is the idea of extending that patience off to somebody else, because they're the ones that need your understanding. They need your care at that time. And so a lot of times you can be patient about a particular thing that involves just yourself, but if it involves somebody else, are you able to extend that out to them?
Because you want that for yourself, right?
Right.
You want to be people to have patience with you when you fail them, forget them, whatever. So are you patient with the people you're holding a grudge against? Because I guarantee you're kind of looking at things from kind of a slanted point of view, and not maybe more patient with them because of how you're feeling about them right now.
Yeah. The next part of this, and I want to differentiate a little bit because of the culture that we live in. The idea that love is kind, okay? We have really become more and more accepting of harsh language, of sarcasm.
Yeah.
And
Guilty.
A lot of times we dismiss it, right?
Yeah.
I was just kidding.
Just kidding.
I was just joking.
Yeah, our kids say that all the time.
And again, I'm certainly, you and I are not like, so
we're not in the perfect button in this
let's
category.
not fool ourselves. But at the same time, extending that kindness, when somebody, this is that whole line of empathy, when somebody needs something a little extra, that's not the time to be into more harsh language and that challenging them.
Yep.
It might just be that time to extend some kindness.
Yep.
Okay, give them a break that day. Right. Show a little grace that day.
Yep.
And so, if you love this person, then you are going to extend that kindness.
Right. And it's really about everybody. It could be the woman at the cash register. It could be the lady, taking your order. I mean, just the kindness the way we talk to people is so important in building relationships. Also, it does not envy. Love the way Christ loved us is not envious. So are you jealous maybe with your spouse? I've heard moms before, stay-at-home moms say they get to go to work. Yeah. And I have to stay at home all day with the kids. I hear that all the time. The envious.
Well, yeah, this is such a great point. This is that martyr syndrome. Look what I've been doing and look what I have to work through every day, and you get to go do this.
Right.
It also kind of goes outside of just our spouse, and just it becomes somewhat of a habit that everybody we look at. We have this jealousy or this envy, whether it's the car they have or the easier lifestyle, or they don't have this illness or that illness. And it's like, everybody carries baggage. Yeah. So do yourself a favor and don't try to get into the comparison trap. Yeah. Especially with the person that you say you love. Yeah. And you're going back and forth to say, well, whose life is better?
Yeah, for sure. In 1 Corinthians 13, it says it does not boast or brag. God's love, Christ's love, does not boast or brag. So like you said, hon, are you a martyr who feels like they do everything around the house? That's the same thing. Like, woe is me, I do it all. It's a pride thing,
Yeah. Well, when we're boasting or bragging, it's all about my accomplishments, right? What I have achieved on my own without giving any of that credibility to either God or the other people that got me there. And in our marriage, right? Our marriage is good, one, because of Christ, and two, because of both of us believing and being united in this. So it's not well, I have a good marriage because. Right.
So it does not boast or brag. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. So this is a biggie. How you speak about your spouse when they're not around is so important. If they were listening in on your conversations with your friends or your mom, is it ugly stuff?
Right.
That's dishonoring them.
Right. Or, and sometimes this is where we pigeonhole this back into, I was just being lighthearted or just kidding.
Just joking around.
But this is something, especially in these areas where, if our spouse did hear the conversation we were in, would they be dishonored?
Right. Would they feelings be hurt?
Yeah. And you and I have both been caught in this one before where I thought I was joking, but I said something that dishonored you.
In front of somebody else.
In front of somebody else. Yep. And I am laughing thinking that it's funny. And again, you called me out on it. You said, you stupid jerk. And you didn't say that. But you said, hey, that did bother me.
But I said it in private after that person left. Yep. And, it is important. What are we looking for and how do we respond to it? The Bible says it is that love is not self-seeking, or in other words, selfish. Hun, you've said this so many times, when we look through the lens of our selfishness and what we want and what we deserve, our relationship loses.
Yeah, and it's so hard because from the time that we're young, unless you were brought up in a Christian home that truly understands Christianity and that we are called to be servants, which our culture is so much into everybody getting what they want and what they deserve, and being a leader of their own life, which in many ways flies into the face of being a servant. And so that is a difficult thing sometimes for us to walk through, that, that's not the message that I was brought up with. So why do I have to do it now?
Yeah. One of the greatest questions you can ask your spouse, and mean it, not just faking and pretending, but mean it, when you say, how can I help? That really shows that you're powering down and you're putting your spouse's needs above your own. And so if I walk in and you look frustrated and say, hey, what's going on? How can I help? That really says whatever is on my plate right now, whatever I was going to do, I want to put behind whatever you need. And that's huge.
Yeah. And that also means putting yourself aside. And so that's dying to self, right? And just working for the other person. Yeah. How about this? You know what? I will say that our nature, neither one of you or I, have a nature for anger. Okay, we don't have
Not
a
usually.
nature, right? So this is, do not be easily angered at your spouse.
Yep.
With that being said, disappointment, frustration.
Yep.
So they're not quite anger, but they are things that leave us shallow or leave us empty. And so those can kind of be grouped into that same thing. So it's not very often that you and I flat out lose our temper with each other.
Throw things around the room.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not our nature, but we do get disappointed.
I had a client that took a weight and threw it through the door. Had a nice hole in the door as a constant reminder of not being easily angered. But, I definitely come back with some biting words, and so we say that our spouse made us do that, or he pushed our buttons, and it's really not our spouse's fault. It's our buttons that are being pushed, right? So it's time we own our anger and get help for it.
Right. So, a big part of this is through the whole process within our marriage. And man, this is tough because especially when we are individuals in the marriage rather than a couple that have blended together, doing away with keeping rights and wrongs.
Yeah.
How many times I did this for you, or how many times you screwed this up. And again, this is difficult, especially if we feel like we are giving more than our partner is. And if all of a sudden we get into that keeping score, literally you will be like, well, if you remember earlier this week, I did this for you.
Right. So what are you looking for? If you're looking for a 50-50 relationship, you're setting your parent, your partner and you up for failure.
Wait. It's not supposed to be 50-50?
It's not 50-50.
Wait, but that's what we were told when we got married. It's 50.
Yeah.
You do half the laundry, I do half the laundry.
Right. So if you're looking for going to that line and then not doing anything above that line or more than that line, you're setting your relationship up for failure. What really we're called, hun, is 100%.
Right.
Now,
who you are in that time,
right.
in that moment. And sometimes in a lot of days, we come up way short.
Absolutely.
Right? Even with our 100%.
Yeah, we can't give 100%. Maybe you're sick. Maybe you've got too much at work. Maybe, whatever. But that's the point, is that the goal is that I'm giving everything I've got and you're going to give everything you got. Now, I know, hun, there's a lot of listeners out there that are like, well, what about my husband? What about my wife who doesn't give 100%? I'm giving 100%.
They talk like that? Man, that's a good character.
And again, that's what we're going to talk about is what do you do when you don't get that back?
Yeah, and so we want to be careful because of the gifts that each of us bring in and not to take for granted the gift that the other person brings in.
Which is different than yours.
Yeah, which is different. So like one of the things that I would always come up short on, at least in my opinion, I would always come up short on is just energy. I mean, you seem to require much less sleep than I do. You can run hard. Last night you asked me a question if we wanted to start working on a program, and it was like 9:45, and I was like, really? Like I'm dead.
Yeah.
But again, that's your energy, but you did not hold that against me. Like you could have been like, really? We got to get this done, but I would be worthless at that time.
Right.
So, but other things that I bring differently than the energy might be the patience or something along that line. So we kind of have to look at the gifts of each other.
Or like I do the laundry in the house. Like if I said, I'm going to do 50% of the laundry, I'm waiting for you to do your 50%. Well,
I'd be in half my underwear all the time.
You're remodeling the basement right now. I have not picked up a hammer. Like we'd be in big trouble if I was in charge of building those walls down there. And so that is your gift. You're given 100% and where you're good at, and I'm given 100% what I'm good at. And so we can't keep score. The minute you keep score, your relationship's failing. So do you enjoy catching your partner messing up or falling short? If you're trying to catch them failing, if that's what you're looking for, you're going to find it, but you're also going to destroy the relationship.
Yeah, that is for sure. Some other things about this whole idea is that rejoicing in truth, right? And not in, as you just talked about, the idea of whether I catch you. doing something wrong, or whether I can somehow make you look bad in a situation. And instead of, we talk about this all the time with couples, that when they get into arguments, and literally I had the conversation today, let's just make this a bottom line statement. Let's say that arguments never occur anymore. Now, again, sure, that's impossible. No, the idea of an argument is that somebody, and even the folks I was working with, I said, when you think of argument, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And somebody said, win. Yeah. Winning. Winning. And so winning for self versus winning for the marriage. And so truth in God's eyes is that the marriage wins. So if you can move to the idea that I want our marriage to win, not me or you to win, that's truth that God rejoices in.
And so you work toward that, because love ultimately, hun, is a decision. So you have the decision, the choice. By the way, at the end of 1 Corinthians 13, Paul says that love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, always. And so is our partner going to come up short in one of more of these areas? Yep. And so are you. So am I. So it depends on what you're looking for. Are you going to focus on what you can do to become the person that you're looking for is looking for?
Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah. That's a tough one. Say that again.
So I'm not going to steal this. This is actually from Andy Stanley.
I thought that was your
I love Andy Stanley. He is a pastor at North Point Community Church in Atlanta, Georgia. And he had a whole series called Love, Dates, and Heartbreaks. And he literally asked this question: are you willing to become the person you're looking for is looking for? Or if you're married, are you willing to become the person you're hoping for is hoping for? Because it starts with you making changes. You got to stop waiting for your spouse to change. You got to be the change,
Right. That reminds me, when I worked at Bright Elementary, and we would always be doing our character things and character classes, and one of our character units was always on making friends. And, the basic statement, and this is so true, a lot of times kids that have a hard time having friends is because they honestly don't know how to be a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether they're too quiet or whether they're selfish.
Always have to be right.
Or whether they have to be right. And so over time, they wonder why there's an isolation there.
I wonder why no one wants to play with me on the playground.
But it's no different than in our marriage, right? And so are you what you're looking for? You have to be. If you want your spouse to be these wonderful things, you got to look in the mirror first. Yeah. Are you being those wonderful things?
Right. Andy Stanley said, you can be exactly right and end up exactly alone. Yeah. Is that what you want? Who wants to live with that person who's always right? It's going to be a pretty lonely life.
Yeah. So let's just kind of run this into our challenge. So this challenge is just really that assessment of where you're spending your time focusing in your own marriage. If you find yourself being hypercritical of everything that your spouse is doing, they never seem to do anything right. You pick them apart. You probably have a problem, not your spouse. Your spouse is feeling the problem, but you probably have a problem with keeping your focus on the wrong things. Yep. And so our challenge for you would be to start picking out the small little things that you saw early on in the relationship. Maybe it was their smile. Maybe it was their energy or their laugh. But if you start looking at those things, it will be what you start to see more and more and more of. Yeah. As long as you continue to keep the window open to the darks that you want to look at, you're going to see them. Yep. They're there.
Yep, they're there because they're there with me and with you.
Right.
So, I used to tell folks all the time, if I asked them to look around the room for something red, and then I had them close their eyes and tell me something blue, it would be hard. Why? Because they're looking for the red, right?
Yeah, and you directed it.
What are you looking for? So as we close, we just want to encourage you to focus on yourself, to be the change that you want in the relationship, to extend grace. I'm not saying to be the doormat, to let them just continue on. But if there really is a struggle with you and your relationship, and you've done an honest assessment of what you can do and what you can change, then get some help. I mean, definitely there's a place for that. But sometimes we just have to decide, what are we going to look for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to jump on that a little bit too, hon, because if this is not a two-way street in terms of both of you hearing this message at the same time, and one of you starts trying to do all this right stuff, I mean, we are called to do that, but we're not going to kid ourselves. It would be exhausting if one of us was doing all of this, really seeing the positive, working hard for all that, and the other one didn't get it or was even going the other way. It would be exhausting. And so part of what we do here at Rock Solid Families is to help realign couples to say, okay, wait, let's both hear this message at the same time so we can have that fresh start of how we're going to work with each other, what we're going to see in each other. So if we can help you out, don't assume that just because you start making these changes that your partners are going to get it, right?
As a matter of fact,
it has to be something that you both embrace.
Right. As a matter of fact, we probably will give this podcast as homework more than once. So if you're listening to this because we told you to, then take some notes and decide that you are willing to make some changes to make your relationship better. Again, it's 100%, not 50-50, and you can't keep score.
All right, so we want to wrap things up by saying thanks again to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance. Thanks again for coming behind us. Also, if there's anything that we can do to help any of you guys out there, please feel free to reach out to Rock Solid Families at 812-576-7625. So get out there and make it a great day.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. For help or more information about what you've heard on today's show, contact us at rocksolidfamilies.org or call us at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-ROCK. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency. If you have questions you'd like answered on our show or you want to chime in on something you heard, go to our Facebook page, Rock Solid Families. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, and for my husband Merrill and I, thanks for tuning in to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time.